Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Monster. I'm Terminus. if you didn't know, And last time we made our way into this very, very curious, very interesting and dynamic arc. I think this is like probably the second most interesting arc for me personally. We had some crazy developments last time with like Johan blowing my mind by pretending to be Anna, and him, as always, being way ahead of the game. But let's jump into it. Let's not dilly dally. Let's just get the episode on the screen. Just a second. Boom. No. Boom. Now. And we are gonna start that in 3, 2, 1. A bam. Deutsche Zukunftsnewspaper. Alright.
警察は一応午後3時から会見開くって言ってますが、俺が直接プラハ署に行く。こんな事件、俺の記者歴始まって以来だぜ。
Tenma in the police archive, in the press archives.
昨夜からずっとそこで調べ物してたのか。
どうも。おかげで探していた記事が見つかりました。
ああ、そりゃよかったな。
ちょっと待ってください。
俺は今忙しいんだよ。
この記事の X 氏なんですけど。
X 氏
Mr. X.
この3年前の元チェコスロバキア秘密警察の実態を
secret police stuff.
ああ。壁崩壊後急激に勢力を伸ばしたドイツ右翼と元チェコスロバキア秘密警察が今や犯罪シンジケートを構成してるって記事だな。それ俺が書いたんだ。
本当ですか？この記事でインタビューに答えている元秘密警察の X 氏という人物に会えないでしょうか？
あんた日本から来た特派員って言ってたな。何調べようとしてるんだ？その X 氏に会って。
This is sensitive, right?
それは彼らがこの国で冷戦時代に行っていた拉致監禁等の実態を調べようと思いまして。
おっかねえ奴らだぞ。俺もこの時は命がけで取材したもんさ。今だっておっかねえ。おかげで世間は大騒ぎだ。なんだ、スーク刑事の事件知らねえのか。特派員が聞いて呆れるな。
いや、
チェコ語はダメだって言ってたが、秘密警察の残党のことを調べてるんならこの大ニュースぐらい押さえとけよ。ほら、うちの新聞だ。ドイツ語は読めるんだろ。プラハ署のスークって若い刑事が本庁から派遣された特別捜査班の刑事2名を射殺して逃げた。旧秘密警察と現チェコ警察の黒いつながりを証明する。
Ooh, this parallels his case so much. I do wonder if he's like feeling that.
旧秘密警察とプラハ署署長および2名の刑事との関係を暴いたのもスーク。都合よく署長ら3名は何者かに毒殺され、当のスークは大手柄を挙げた。ところが特別捜査班はスークをマークしていた。だがスーク刑事はあろうことか、そのマークしていた刑事2名を殺してしまった。
善と有望なエリート刑事。一度は大手柄。
何ブツブツ言ってんだ。
上司3名毒殺。ウイスキーボンボン。筋肉弛緩剤。ヨハン。
Yes. DM. Sorry about that.
ヤン・スークさんのお母さんはこちらに。
警察の方？
いえ。
409号室です。
どうも。
会っても無駄だと思いますけど。
He's not. Oh, maybe she can't talk or something. Maybe that's the problem, right? Because she's sick, we know that. Wasting your time.
ヤン・スークさんのお母さんですね。
や
Or maybe she's got
ヤ
dementia.
ン来てくれたのね。
いえ、私は。
よく来てくれたね、ヤン。もっと近くに来て顔見せて、ヤン。
She
横に
doesn't
なって
see
話
well.
した方がいいですよ。
ヤン。
息子さんから電話か手紙ありませんでしたか？
聞いて、お隣のカテリーナが私のぬいぐるみ返してくれないの。周りおばさんにもらった大事なぬいぐるみなのに。
あなたの息子さんは無実ですよ。じゃあ僕はこれで。
あなた、ヤン、あなたまたあそこで遊んでたの？あなたいつもあそこで刑事ごっこしてるでしょ。
どこでしたっけ？
隠れ家のつもりかもしれないけど、私は知ってるんだから。
Might be a place he goes to think.
バレてたんですね。
そう、バレてたわ。
それじゃあ。
怪我しないようにね。夕ご飯には戻るのよ。
Could be Alzheimer's, probably. Living in the past. Or maybe.
昔あるところに。
Oh, don't say what I think you're gonna say. Oh god. Oh my god. What the fuck?
怪物は名前が欲しくて欲しくて仕方がありませんでした。昔々あるところに名前のない怪物がいました。
Ooh. He gave it to her in order to hide it. Of course. Holy shit, Jan is a fucking genius.
飯買ってきた。それに
Bro is like
あんた一躍スターだ。
母に送った貸金庫のカセットテープと研究論文。誰にも気づかれていない。
Nobody did. Nobody did. This is the last place they would be looking at.
しかし、こうして一連の記事をまとめて読んでみると、あんたの事件とあの事件、つくづく似てるな。
あの事件。
ドイツのデュッセルドルフで10年前にあったんだ。ある病院の院長と医師2名が毒入りキャンディーで殺され、犯人は将来有望な若き外科医。
その男は
無実の罪を晴らすべく現在逃亡中。
And he met him, Terminus.
あんたの場合はまだいい。私という目撃者がいる。
あなたが僕のフラットの階段ですれ違った。
ああ、ブロンドの美人。
その女が真犯人だとしたって見つけられなきゃそれまでだ。
スーク。
このまま
I do wonder where Nina is right now.
なぜ僕ばっかりこんな目に遭うんだ。僕が何をしたって言うんだ。
落ち着け。
このまま僕はこの世から消えてなくなれっていうのか。
No, I understand. I understand.
冷静になれ。自分を信じろって言ったろう。最後に信じられるのは自分だけだって。
Don't despair, my friend.
よーし、いい子だ。さあ、食おう。
この部屋で子供の頃よく刑事ごっこしたんです。あれが警部補の机。
That's
そのまま残って
cute.
いるなんて驚きましたよ。ここで僕がみんなに指示を出すんです。テレビドラマみたいに。諸君、今回も難事件だが全力を挙げて捜査に当たってほしい。悪をはびこらせてはいけない。正義の名において。懐かしいな。
懐かしいね。What the fuck? Out of nowhere. Wait, who the fuck?
しっかりしろスーク。窓の外は危ない。この机の陰に。もうダメだ。
Is it like secret police?
誰が撃ったんだ。チェコスロバキア秘密警察
Hmm.
が。
Maybe. Or people who are with Johan, that's also maybe they're both one and the same.
大丈夫だスーク。急所は外れてる。お前の銃借りるぞ。
テープ
Bro, don't use all of your shots. Good thinking. Good thinking. How the fuck did they shoot him from there?
スーク。待ってろ。今行く。
Holy shit, this dude might be dying.
外してる。
テープ
テープはここにはない。ここ窓から丸見えか。グリバーさん。ここだ。ここにいるよスーク。今助けてやる。
Holy fuck, where are they shooting from? Insane.
よし、よしよしよし。もうおしまいだよ。静かにしろ。グリマーさん。喋るな。あなただけでも。あなただけでも逃げて。バカ言うな。上から。チェコ語か。何を言ってるんだ。
You can't. That's kind of insane, though. Come on. Somebody's gonna come, but I don't know who. Is it gonna be Tenma again? Oh, shit. Yeah, he is absolutely... He's absolutely losing it. Insane how easily somebody can pull that trigger, isn't it?
グドトイエ。
ドイツ語喋れるか。
少しだけ。
ここで何をやっている。
あんた誰だ。
質問に答えろ。何をやっているんだ。
He's not gonna shoot though, right?
もう終わったよ。
If he doesn't have to.
全員あの建物に突入した。あの若い刑事とノッパーも仕留めたよ。
Yeah. Gotta take him out.
遅かったか。
Ooh, you could use the sniper rifle, my dude. You trained sniper rifles, right? No, he's going in. Okay. It's gonna be dangerous for you, Tenma. I think it would have been easier if he used the sniper rifle and shot at anybody coming in the door, but he doesn't know where they are, so. You know, take the walkie-talkie, be like... Wait, who shot him? Damn. My boy. Holy shit. That's some unlocked drama here. I mean, he was a former spy, so...
あなたはあの時の
超人シュタイナーが
グリモワさん。
超人シュタイナーがまたやっちゃった。
Was it him this time, or was it somebody else again?
やっと来てくれたね。あいつを助けてやってくれ。あいつはいいやつだ。お願いだ。助けてやってくれ。他にも患者がいっぱいいるよ。
一体これは。
多分俺だ。俺の中のもう一人の俺が。俺は511キンダーハイムの出身。
And here we have it. This is his connection to Kinderheim. And this is why he had that reaction last time. Alright, All Might. Yeah. And he was taught the skills, right? And this was his, like, persona as, like, traumatic memories, kinda.
俺はテレビにかじりついて見ていた。超人シュタイナーの活躍を。
Not a person protecting him.
青年はひ弱な男でね。いつも肝心なところで悪者に追い詰められる。
Like the Hulk, kind of. Just not with the angry thing.
悪者は超人シュタイナーに乗されてる。いつの間にか本当に超人シュタイナーが現れるようになった。ピンチに陥ると彼が現れて悪い奴らをやっつけるんだ。
This is actually literally
覚えてるのはテレビの超人シュタイナー。それだけだ。
This would be the multi-personality disorder that we know, right?
511キンダーハイムに何もかもね。
I don't know much about multiple personality disorder because it's very, very rare, right? Like, or dissociative... how was that? Dissociative identity disorder, I think it's called these days. But I guess the theory goes, if I remember correctly, again, I don't know much about it. It's not something that's been being taught on the regular because it's very, very rare. But it's like probably caused through traumatic incidents and like long-term traumatic stress and pressure. And probably what happens is that your conception of identity changes, right? So you would be having two separate identities within yourself. And one of these identities is there as a protective function, as like a mechanism to protect you as the helpless victim of that trauma from said trauma. So you do have maybe like a lot of like abuse happening and whatnot, and that different personality is the personality that can actually stand up for themselves. Obviously, now that personality doesn't have any different skills from you. Maybe skills right into like knowledge on. You share the same knowledge base, right? You share the same like idea about things, the same skills and whatnot. But the problem here is like the normal person, you, let's say Grimmer here, right? He doesn't feel like he can help himself, right? He's overwhelmed in these situations. He feels small and weak and doesn't know what to do. but he technically does have the knowledge and some of the strength to do these things. So a personality takes over, or a part of him takes over, that is not afraid to stand up, that is not afraid to hurt other people. Maybe that is also a thing, because we do see like Grimmer is very much a person who's afraid, or not afraid, but who doesn't like hurting other people, right? And who is like very empathetic with people. So I guess maybe that is the split off here, where there's a person who's like doesn't care what other people, right? What other people hurt, like is unscrupulous, does cruel things if they have to in order to defend themselves, right? Basically everything that he has technically the capacity to do, but wouldn't want to do as the kind of person he is. This personality takes over, and what you have in terms of like the function is that all of this overwhelming traumatic stuff that's happening to him, first of all, he doesn't remember it clearly, right? He just remember parts of it. And then he does have that external thing that he can push all of the guilt, all of the stress, and all of the aggression onto, so he doesn't need to have it within himself. That's how I see it. Now, obviously, again, I'll say it again. There's a lot of people who probably have more knowledge about like dissociative identity disorder than I do. Just because I haven't been doing the master's degree yet, and just also because it's relatively rare and it's not the first thing you're being taught about. Most of the time you're being taught about like schizophrenia and depression and all of these things, but even like stuff like schizophrenia is very rare within like the populations, like 1% or something. But that is like dissociative identity disorder is even more rare. It's a phenomenon, but it does exist, and it is like an official diagnosis. I do think it is in the DSM-5. So that's how I explain it to myself. This is how I would see it, and parts of that is definitely true. So like caused by trauma, and like two split identities, like feelings of identity. And the way we like construct identity is obviously that we have a sense of coherence, right? You are not the same person that you were 5 years ago, or 2 days ago, or at your birth. But you do still feel that every part of that and everything you remember, all of these memories and all of that, it's all part of who you are as one identity. You are you. And this is like, in these cases, that feeling of coherence is in some way damaged, but in a functional way, right? Like, because it was useful to you, or is useful to you in some way, to defend yourself from external like threats and stimuli and whatnot, to overcome the hardships that you had to overcome in life. And with that split identity, at least from what I remember, comes also like a split, like almost like the inability to remember the parts where the other identity took over, right? It's very curious, and I do wonder where that comes from, right? If that comes from like how much our memories, since memories are a reconstructive process, right? We have like certain facts, or right, like factual semantic things that we remember about the past. We have certain feelings that we remember about the past. And then we have a lot of other information that we vaguely remember about the past, which is like perception, what we heard, what we smelled, what we saw. And those are getting put back together, right? And then we are like filling in the gaps, and we're all kind of constructing it into a coherent, logical, for ourselves, logical thing. So I do wonder in which capacity this strong, strict separation between two identities and the ability to actually remember both identities would, like, how that actually works, right? Because clearly, if that is actually the case, the way it's actually being displayed and whatnot, we do have one identity that remembers most of their lives, except for a couple of blackouts. And if you have the other identity, which we don't know what they remember, but most probably they remember the times where they were in control, right? So there's like this clear split, despite them obviously being the same person, having the same brain, right? All of this. Although it's very interesting, this phenomenon we call consciousness. It's very interesting anyway, especially if you look at, like, I've talked about this, I think, in one of my past reactions for a couple of minutes. This, like, when we look at split brain patients, where like the connection between the left and the left and the right hemisphere was split completely, so there's no back and forth going between the two, and it's oftentimes, it feels almost in experiments and whatnot, it almost seems like those two halves of the brain are two consciousnesses now that exists like in parallel to one another, which is insane if you think about it. But that's not the case here, right? Like, there's no split or whatever. It's just like an artificial split almost. Like, the brain says, okay, I put this thing into that drawer, and I put this thing into this drawer, and this drawer can only be open if the other one is closed, and the other way around, right? It's like very, very interesting. Let's get back into it.
余計な話だな。あんたにとっちゃ何の関係もない話だ。
よし、一応の応急処置はしました。
スークはそいつは助かるのかい？
弾丸はすべて貫通してますが、液化動脈から上腕動脈にかけての損傷がひどい。
He needs a doctor.
手で圧迫して止血をしました。
He needs to get to
今
hospital.
私にできるのはここまでです。あとは一刻も早く病院に運ぶしかない。グリマーさん、私には関係ないと言ったけど、私も関係があるんです。
It does.
511キンダーハイムに。さあ、救急車を呼びましょう。
もう一台必要だ。至急手配してくれ。怪我人の状態は緊急を要します。ただどうした？全員に応急処置が施してあるんです。しかも適切な応急処置。
Somebody with medical expertise. I mean, they're probably not gonna put that onto Tenma, but definitely a curious case.
なんて言ってる？
チェコ語だからさっぱりですが、収容された病院の名前は分かりました。ヤコブ・ジーマ記念病院です。
やっぱり警察はスークを逮捕するんだろうな。だがあいつは
無実なんですね。
But he's alive. That's important.
俺が言って証言してやれば。ドクター・テンマー、あんたなんで？
私のことよりさっきの話、511キンダーハイムのことを聞かせてくれませんか？
Since he is a first-hand witness, this is insane.
実はよく覚えてないんだ。
I assumed as much.
思い出せないんだ。
Mm.
断片的なことしか。暗い通路、天井のシミ、ドアのきしむ音、カビ臭いベッド。記憶が鮮明になるのはあそこから出されて少ししてから。
Yeah.
誰かが俺が14歳だって言った。今思えば奇妙な学校に入れられて名前を与えられた。ボルフガング・グリマー。
Wolfgang Grimmer.
家はなんとも人工的な街の中にあった。
Artificial.
そのエリアからは外に出られなかった。
What is an artificial neighborhood?
父親役がいて、
Okay.
母親役がいて、
Cover.
何カ国語も勉強させられたよ。ロシア語、
Sleeper cells,
スペイ
kinda.
ン語、フランス語。
スパイ教育。
その中でも一番難しかったの。なんだと思う？ 笑い方だよ。
And hence, like, the fake-ish smile.
行かなくっちゃ。
グリマーさん、新聞記事で見ました。あなたも重要参考人として追われて。
スークの無実を証明できるのは俺だけだ。
He's trying to do the right thing. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. Very, very interesting that it's definitely very interesting that a place such as Kinderheim 511, right, which was supposed to be this program to get people to actually become more or less like leading personalities but soulless and like or good soldiers or whatnot, right? We did have all of these different experiments going on, one of them being mostly that he wanted to shape personalities, right? A place full of trauma, a place that he himself doesn't want to remember. That we are actually seeing a good example of somebody who bounced back. And bounced back hard. Now, obviously, the things he's capable of when he's blacking out, that is part of that trauma and whatnot. But his base personality, like the personality he's going through life with, is one of trying to make things right, trying to seek justice in his own way, to process the things that happen to him, right? To find the truth about that, because he doesn't remember as much, right? Wanting to kind of get that for himself, but also trying to help people along the way. As we can see with Suk, and him wanting to do the right thing, being like, okay, I'll go to the police, right? I'll make sure that Suk isn't the one who is being confined. Now, perfect like image to actually stop on, where we do have a little bit of the definitely empathetic but also like wary attitude of nurses and hospital staff when it comes to very sad things, right? Like patients' sadness and suffering and whatnot, because she's like, I don't think you'll be very you'll have a lot of luck. And he recognizes that soon too. Probably is one of like the most clear hints at like just Alzheimer's. She's living in the past. That means like her long-term memory exists. She's not just completely like unable to think, unable to like recognize anything. No, she recognizes people. She can interact with them. She's getting like, you're getting things through to her in the way that you're just interacting with her, but she's living in the past. Her son is still this small. Her son is still playing police and going to the abandoned building, right? He doesn't know, but she does, and she remembers every detail about that time, because in that time, like, that memory is core, it exists. But memories that happen today, memories that she has to consolidate, right? That she has to take in to her memory bank, basically, right? Into that she has to... memories that she has to create now, right? And remember them now. She'll, even if she has a clear moment, she interacts with you normally, right? She recognizes you as somebody who she doesn't know or whatever that she interacts with. 2 hours later, she won't be able to remember you. 1 day later, she won't be able to remember that she had a conversation with anyone, right? Or what she did eat yesterday. She'd probably think that she ate something that she ate like 30 years ago on the regular. Now, obviously, it could be anything else, right? Like, it could be all kinds of dementia that involve forgetting, but the most prominent one, and the one that these specific symptoms fit the most, is Alzheimer's dementia, because that's just basically what happens. You still remember a lot, you can probably just interact with normal objects and whatnot, there's no problem with that. You hear, you see, well, as much as somebody can see that it's getting older and losing some of their eyesight. But you do lose the capacity to make new memories and keep them, right? More and more. Now there's other forms of dementia that are different from that. You do have like frontal dementia. Like in that case, there's a lot of like loss of language related stuff. There's a lot of like a loss of maybe in the field like decision making and other stuff like that, right? I mean, with Alzheimer's, you do like, there's only certain areas that are most affected by that. And yeah, frontotemporal dementia is definitely the one where it's more like language and like executive functions, right? Making decisions, staying focused on something. So there's that. Yeah. It's hard, right? It's hard. And he gave the tape to her, which is absolutely bloody brilliant. That is brilliant as hell. This looks like a former, like, I mean, it's like, you say office, but this looks almost like a former like garrison or some shit. But yeah, you do have like the fence and whatnot. And I thought like this is where they hide out and they kind of like discuss their next things. He's like obviously very emotional, and that makes perfect sense. He's like he's lost his entire life. He might be looking onto a life of having to run away, never knowing where you're safe, being followed by secret police as well as like state authorities that think you're guilty. Like there's his entire life broke apart, and what does he do when he has to run away and he can't be anywhere and his mom is still in the hospital and she needs her bills paid, right? She can't pay her own bills, so especially in a country, we don't know what the health system is at that point in time in the Czech Republic. So, but he's building him up. He's like already a little bit used to stress, but as we see later on, he's not as used to stress, to direct like threat of life stress. Because in the beginning, he's getting him out of the way. He's planning, right? He's hiding in the corner. He's doing some good shit. He's shooting. He's like saying we don't have the tape and whatnot. But when he doesn't know what to do, right? He's like absolutely, literally cornered. He starts panicking. He starts dissociating. It's like absolutely being overwhelmed by everything around him. I love how the angle is getting Dutch, and we bend the camera lens, and the dimensions are swimming. It's like drowning in shallow water almost. But yeah, Tenma comes in, knocks him out, goes after him, and then realizes, shit, like, this dude, he did some crazy shit. It's a bit like, this is not like a, ooh, right, I'm a superhero. No, they were coming in one by like together probably, and he like had the skills to kill them. He didn't for most of them, but he had the skills to kill them, to maim them, to take them out so they couldn't kill him anymore. It's like serious spy stuff. And as he's described at the end of the episode, he's like, I was trained for this, right? Languages, skills, whatever, right? This is the start of when he started to remember. So the plan was build their personality, right? Structure them a certain way, and then send them out into the world, give them a job as in spy, right? Fake family, fake whatever. You're learning a lot, you're learning skills, you're learning languages, and then send them out into the world and be spies over there and over there and over there. right? And sleeper cells, and at some point they're gonna be activated, and it's gonna be like pulling the trigger. This is like intense stuff, right? Manipulating people to the point that they are your instruments of war, basically. That is some heinous stuff that, I don't know, whoever is involved in this, whoever is doing these things to people, to their own people as well, right? People of their own country, or even like if it's people of a different country, right? Abducting people from a different country, indoctrinating them from childhood up, right? Abusing them to the point that you bend them in a direction you want them to, which never works, by the way, right? Not in that sense, right? Not as a science. You do see that everybody is unique, and everybody, like genes, environment, everything is so complex that just assuming you could be taking anybody and could bend them in any way you want if you just do it right, that's hubris. That's clear hubris. You don't know how a person reacts to pressure. That is absolutely unique to the person, to their circumstances, and you can't reproduce that. Even if you control as much as you can in an environment, you can't control the environment enough to account for these small little changes in base temper and personality, in genetics, in very, very early childhood memories before you can even take these people away from their mothers. In trauma that they've experienced, because most of the time if people are like easy targets for abduction and for just like taking them away without them being missed or searched for or whatever, right, investigated, then most of the time they had a traumatic past, be that war-torn countries, be that like orphans on the street, stuff like that. But yeah, that is the way that he is conceptualizing this, right? Whenever I am in trouble and I get pressured and whatever, and something is too large for me to handle, then this other person comes in and they're gonna save me, and I wake up and suddenly everything is fine again. But it was me, and this is what Grimmer suspects, but he never can confirm it because he doesn't have a memory. Steiner. Magnificent Steiner. Alright. We have the reports and the clear intent. And I love how he's like, the smile was the hardest to learn. It's like very interesting thing for me because I kind of relate to that. Right? As a child, I used to smile a lot. I used to be like very bright, and I used to like talk a lot as well. Hence maybe why I really, really enjoy talking in front of a camera as well at this point in time. Once I've like unlocked this part of myself again. But there was a time in my life when things were very rough, when every day seemed gray and like just black and white. Everything was bleak and the future looked like it had nothing in store for me. And that was a time for me that honestly probably my base resting bitch face came about, right? So this was like the time in my life where I was like, no nonsense, no bullshit, but also very much cynical, frustrated, hateful, depressed. These things, right? It's not a nice time, and like it took a long time for me to relearn how to really appreciate things around you, how to be happy, how to smile. And I do understand that in him, where he's like, it was the hardest for me to learn how to smile. And I guess for him it was actually fake the smile, right? But I like to believe that even though the expression in general is drawn this way as well, that it's a little bit fakey, it comes from a genuine place at this point for him. But it didn't always. And learning how to imitate that smile when it's not coming from a genuine place, really hard. And then you do have, again, from imitating it, learning how to actually live the smile and embrace that which causes you to smile. also couldn't have been easy for a person like him growing up the way he did. Yeah, I think we're gonna jump into the next episode. I'm gonna load it up right here. Episode 47, The Door to a Nightmare. Might be an exciting one. Don't have the time for 3 episodes today, but I think 2 are pretty alright, and you know. But let's get this party started. 47 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Bam! We had that scene before, but not with those shoes. And that dress. Who are you being followed by? Ooh, is that Anna or is it Nina? Johan probably wouldn't be this dismissive. That is a weird, like, that is an interesting cut with like the floor and whatnot. No, this is not Johan. Unless he's like really trying to make a scene. Yeah, I fucking knew it. They recognize me. Holy shit. Are you in for a surprise, Nina? Gotta say, like, masterclass visual storytelling, really. You do recognize that when, from the moment you see a scene, you can tell something's not right here, right? You can tell, okay, this is not the character I know. Or if you can tell, after being told something like that, right? It's like Johan disguised, and then you see the character and you're like, no, this is not Johan, this is actually Nina. That is just amazing. Because there's a lot of series out there where this is not the case. Where you would just see the same person, displayed the same way, drawn the same way, with the same sound design, with the same facial expressions, and you'd think, wow, there's no way I can differentiate. And then later on it's revealed and you're like, okay, I guess this was this person. But here you do have that masterclass story, like visual storytelling in there where you're like, okay, no, this is not that person. Or, okay, this is the other person. Really cool. The Door to Nightmares. Do.
おやこれはどういうことだ
連続殺人事件の容疑者のスークが収容されているのに警官もパトカーも見当たらない。
ああ
とりあえず
suspicious.
私は様子を見てきます。
いやどっちにしろ俺が行かなきゃ意味がない中も同じだ警察の影も形もない
こちらにスークという怪我人が収容されているはずなんですが。
は？
ヤン・スーク、刑事なんですが。
刑事？
ブルノ通りの廃屋で大勢の怪我人が。
ああ、失業者が喧嘩で数名担ぎ込まれたあれ。
Cover up, cover up.
ええ。
ニュースでは言ってる意味がわからなかったが、そういうことになってるんだろ
う。で、その人たちは今どこの病室に？
ひどい怪我でしたけど、処理後に皆さん転院されました。
転院って
どこに？
さあ、 救急車が来て6名全員乗せて。
No, we don't know. We didn't write it down. Hello?
連中の人数だ。
スークは
Today. Imagine that happening today. Holy shit.
銃で撃たれてたんですが、
銃撃されて担ぎ込まれた患者さんなんていませんけど。
じゃあヤンスークという急患がここに運び込まれたという記録は？
ありません。
But it was on the news, right?
511キンダーハイムに関する研究資料とテープ。
ああ、元511キンダーハイムの院長でプラハでモグリの養護施設をやっていたペドロフが死ぬ間際に俺に託した。
それを一体誰が狙ってるんですか？
Ooh, this is gonna be interesting.
ただ旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察の連中がそれを欲しがっているのは確かだ。
その資料とテープは今どこに？
手元にはない。あるところに預けてある。
それのせいでスーク刑事は大怪我を負い、病院から何者かにさらわれた。
連中欲しいものを手に入れるためにはスークに何をするか分かったもんじゃない。弱ったな。
その資料とテープの内容、どういうものですか？
資料は専門用語が羅列された研究データ、それに名簿。詳しくは見ていない。テープも触りだけしか聞いていない。
何が録音され
Should
て
have listened to the whole tape,
子
honestly.
供の声だ。
子供？
あれは薬物を投与されて尋問されたんだろう。その子は名前を聞かれてヨハンと答えていた。ん？どうしたドクターテンマー。
511キンダーハイム研究資料。ヨハン。テープは今どこに？
ご同行願えますか？
スークはどこだ？
お互いビジネスライクに行きましょう。
スークは
ご同行願えますか？
No. Of course they're gonna
と
go.
もかくドクターテンマー、あんたがこれ以上巻き込まれることはない。
No, he's already deep in.
私も旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察に尋ねたいことがあるんです。
何しようとしてんだいあんた。まあこいつらが話し合いのできるような奴らかどうかが問題だな。まさか食事にご招待なんてことはないよな。
ようこそ。どうぞこちらへ。
あの男は？
どうやら旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察の大物。
ああ、新聞社で調べた。カレル・ランケ大佐。
お偉方直々のお出ましか。
今回は部下が手荒な真似をして申し訳なかった。指揮系統の手違いで意図しない事態になってしまった。我々は今大変な誤解を受けている。
And what is that misunderstanding?
あたかも殺しの集団のようにね。
スークは
我々の関係の病院に収容した。命に別状はない。
誤解が聞いて呆れるな。
今回の事件で我々は誰一人として殺していない。
あの女は？
女？
あの金髪の女はあんた方の差し金で動いているんじゃないのか？
情報は入っているが、我々とは全く無関係だ。我々も非常に迷惑をしている。我々が欲しいのは人の命ではない。あのテープと資料をドイツの友人が欲しがっていてね。
And it was
我
that
々
friend
は
in
ペドロ
Germany.
フと慎重に折衝を重ねていた。その矢先彼は殺された。
よほどの金が動くようだな。
そう。これはビジネスだ。私はビジネスの話をしたいだけだ。スークと引き換えにあのテープと資料をいただきたい。
どこにあるか知らないな。
そういうやりとりはやめましょう。
あんなこと繰り返しちゃいけない。あんなものが世の中にあったらどういうことになるか。あんなこと二度と繰り返しちゃいけない。
その手の話も今は置いておきましょう。 この商談には関係のない話だ。
私は出身者だから。私は511キンダーハイムの出身者だから。
君、年齢は
That gave him pause.
一応14歳ってことになっているが、30年前の話だ。
入ったのは
さあね、多分7つか8つだろう。
1963年前後だね。
さあ、
この子を知らないか。私の甥いだ。60年代初め、私は表向きチェコスロバキア大使館の情報将校
And he was in there as well.
駐在していた。私には妹がいてね、ドイツ人と結婚した。しかし妹とその夫はベルリンの壁を越えて亡命を図り射殺された。
And the orphan was placed there.
その子だけが残った。私がサインしたんだ。話ではそこは素晴らしい環境だった。過去のある子供たちを将来の共産主義を背負って立つエリートに育て上げる理想的な教育だ。私が511キンダーハイムにその子を入れるため。
And he feels guilt about that. Okay. That is a surprise.
記憶がないんだ。あそこでのこと、それ以前のこと、まるで覚えてないんだ。自分の本当の名前すらね。
あなたはとんでもないものまで金に変えようとしている。あなたの甥御さんの実験データをも含まれた資料を売ろうとしている。
話がそれたようだ。この件はビジネスとして前向きにお考え願いたい。
He's reverting back.
わかりました。今日のところはお引き取りいただいて結構です。いい返事を期待していますよ。丁重にお送りしろ。
どうするんです？
Who is his employee? Like his contractor.
要求を飲めば彼はスークを解放すると思います。
What's the meaning of that? Butterfly or moth?
思い出した。思い出した。
グリマーさん。
週1回のココアの支給が楽しみだった。僕が熱を出して医務室で寝ているとき、ココアを持ってきてくれた。自分のココアをあんなに好きだったのに。美味しかった。あんなに美味しいココアは初めてだった。だから何かあいつにお礼がしたかった。するとあいつは言ったんだ。僕のことを覚えていてくれって。あの頃みんなの間で流行ってたんだ。自分のことを友達に話すんだ。
He remembers.
けど奇妙な授業で毎日自分の記憶が薄れていくんだ。
Drugs probably as well.
名前すら忘れそうになるんだ。だから
Remembered each other's names.
自分のことを覚えていてもらうんだ。あいつはココアが好きで、絵を描くのが好きで、虫が好きだった。でも昆虫採集は虫を殺すから嫌いだった。一番楽しかったことは両親と森に行った時だ。たくさん蝶を取った。でもあいつは帰り際に虫かごから蝶を逃がしたんだ。あいつの夢は昆虫学者になることだった。
What was his name though? Oh no, we know his name, right?
あいつの名前は
No, we
ド
don't.
ルフ・ラインハルト。
That's an interesting name, but okay.
私の甥だ。
That is him. That's very interesting because we have an olive branch, right? Ooh. Creepy girl?
おかえり。
彼に隠し事をしちゃダメだよ。
Flashes, memories, roses and
人間は
thorns.
ね、何にだってなれるんだよ。
乾杯。
People can become anything.
やあ、おかえり。
やあ、おかえり。
いやおかえり。
Oh, there's flashes coming.
どうしたのみんな。
She's got some shit too.
私、ここを知ってる。
Ah.
ここに来るまでの道。
Because did the experiments begin here as well? But because that felt very experiment
この看
like.
板、全部知ってる。ここに住んでたの？わからない。ただ怖い。
Ooh, I love that with the door getting
この
bigger.
ドアも知ってるの？わからない。でも、
Scared and drawn to it at the same time.
怖いから。
These angles are crazy. They're really great.
この階段も知ってる。
These are some of the scenes we've seen in the OP, right? Like the wine glass and the drawings.
あなたに聞いてほしいことがある。
ドクター・テンマー、あのテープも資料もあんたには関係ない。
いや、私にも。
話している暇はなさそうだ。奴ら、交渉事が待ちきれないらしい。旧チェコスロバキア秘密警察の連中がわざわざお出ましだ。
じっくりと考えていただけましたかな。
ああ、テープも研究資料も渡す気はない。
スーク刑事がどうなってもいいというのかね。
スークの身に何かあったら永久にあのテープと資料はこの世から消えてなる。
そういうくだらないやりとりはやめましょう。
It's not meaningless for him.
テープの音だけは聞かせてやってもいい。条件はあなたがそれらを売ろうとしているドイツの友人とのビジネスを忘れることだ。あくまであなたが個人的に聞きたいというのならテープの音を聞かせてあげてもいい。いや、あなたは聞くべきだ。あなたが511キンダーハイムに送り込んだ老いのためにも。あのテープに吹き込まれたヨハンという少年の声を。
それが君の取引かね。
私は取引などしていない。
もうやめてくれ。こんなことやってる場合じゃないんだ。今こうしている間にもそのテープのせいで誰かが殺されるかもしれないんだ。あなた方チェコスロバキア秘密警察の関係者が今回何人殺されたと思ってるんですか？彼らは誰に殺されたと思ってるんですか？そのテープを一番欲しがっている人間だ。そのテープに吹き込まれた声の主、ヨハンにだ。
ドクター・テンマ
何の話かさっぱりわからないな。
とぼけないでくれ。あなたはドイツの友人にあれがどういうテープなのか聞いているはずだ。何を手に入れろと言われたんだ？
怪物の正体。ただそれだけだ。
あなた方を巻き添えにしたくなかった。だが全て話すよ。
Ooh, he's opening up.
殺される前に。10年前の。
Super interesting. He's telling his whole story. Damn.
なるほど。で、そのヨハンは自分のルーツを求めてここプラハにやってきた。
わからない。それら全てを消し去ろうとしているのかもしれない。あなた方は15年前、一体何をしたんだ？ミカルスカ地区、 チェドック橋近くにある親子がいた。その親子はある日秘密警察に連れ去られた。3匹のカエルの看板のある建物からヨハンを連れ出して何をした？
This is where it all started. This episode is so amazing.
どうしたのニナ？この階段を引きずられるように連れて行かれた。誰が？
Johan was taken away.
確かにあの頃、私はすべての情報が耳に入る立場にあった。
But
だが3匹のカエル、親子の連行、全く記憶にない。
とぼけないでくれ。
とは言っても、私にも入ってこない情報があった。あの男がやっていたこと、秘密警察のどの部署に属しているのか、どの命令系統のもとにいるのかもわからなかったあの男。いろいろな人間をどういう理由か報告することもなく自由に拘束できた。彼は一体何をやっていたんだろう。彼はたかだか大尉なのに、一軒の豪華な屋敷を仕事場として与えられていた。そう。彼は赤いバラの屋敷の男と呼ばれていた。
その男が関係していたというのか。
非常に物腰の優雅な静かな男だった。制服を着ず、お茶とケーキを好んでいた。
その男の名は
フランツ・ボナパルタ。
ボナパルタ。
I think we've never heard that name.
どうかはわからない。彼にはペンネームもあったからな。
ペンネーム？
What was his pen
絵
name?
本作家でもあったんだよ。
Ooh, of the monster picture book. Okay. But what did that have to do with Johan and Nina's childhood?
このドアを開けて誰かが帰ってきた。
絵本？
ああ、奇妙な絵本だったよ。名前のない怪物とかいう。
何もないよ、ニナ。この記憶は何？私はここで絵本を読んでいたはずなのに。でもドアを開けて帰ってきたのは私。
What the hell?
私が私を迎えている。おかえり。
This is weird as fuck. Holy fuck. Okay, spitballing. How does she have memories that don't belong to her? Because she's seeing that out of the... She's reading a picture book. And suddenly she sees somebody coming in. But now she has the memory of a perspective of somebody coming in seeing her. What the hell? Hello? King Boy again. We've seen that before, right, in the book. Alright, not sure what to say about this one. I mean, we do have that reveal at the end. A lot of this is just like them negotiating and trying to figure out things. A lot of these angles are really cool. Like we feel like maybe he's being, or they're being observed from the rooftop here, right? Could be the secret police, could be Johan, right? Johan could be present somewhere in this scene. He's always ahead of them, which is insane, right? If you think about it, like he does the fire and whatnot. Like Tenma saves Nina, stays for a couple of days, and gets the fuck out of there, goes right to Prague, and suddenly like Johan is there already, and he's been pretending to be Anna. And what? Hello? Like as if Johan is everywhere at the same time, right? The moth, right? Okay, this is like we had the meaning of that later on. Just very, very beautiful how it like sits on the windowsill kind of deal. I love this shot of the car, by the way. Really cool shot. Like the road which is being lit up by the lights and by nothing else, and just passing by, and you do have like the little reflections of like the street lamps. This guy being like hard, being like let's do it with like business deal and whatnot. It's like you do have to ask what is his actual motivation here, because we do genuinely see that he is moved by this, and he genuinely just wanted to know what happened to his nephew, because he feels guilty about that probably, and maybe his nephew died, or maybe his nephew disappeared and he doesn't know where he is and wants to find him. One of these things. And he's genuinely touched by that. The question is, maybe Johan or whoever else is working for or with Johan approached him and was like, look, I want you to look into Kinder M511. And he knew from the start, right? Whoever like approached him knew from the start this guy was personally interested in that, right? He was somebody you could get to, and he would have also a personal interest in that, and that's why he would probably take the personal interest and be like, okay, this is actually a good job for me to do because I want to know that as well. And now we're getting into that, and he's actually getting some of the information. But I think what Grimmer is doing here is really cool, because he says, you know what, I believe you, right, that you're really interested in that. I want you to actually listen to that. It's important. I think that's your right to hear that. At the very least for your nephew and for who you put into that orphanage. But if you want to listen to that, you need to agree to not get that tape to the person, right? The original tape, right? You can get the information to them, not the original tape. Because for all you know, it's Johan, and Johan's just gonna destroy it. Although he doesn't know that yet one-to-one, right? Like, he knows part of Tenma's story. But he's like, at the same, like, he doesn't want Johan to get that. And now Tenma opens up about it. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the whole deal. Because that is important. You need to understand the gravity of what you're doing. And we do have a new name, which is like, what was that? Bonaparte. Sounds weird, right? Like, it sounds like Napoleon Bonaparte, which doesn't make much sense. Bonaparte would be more like Italian, I would think, right? Like that's how it sounds. And Franz is a common German name, so it sounds very much like a pen or alias name, right? And he's like doing that picture book, and Nina's like, what the fuck happened? Because like I remember, and we need to get through that again, because like there's a lot of stuff that happens here that she is remembering. So let's just go through it for a hot minute and see what we can actually spot, because that is very important, I would say. We're going over there, right? We do have her as a child, apparently, supposedly, being like, Ocarina Zai, welcome back. We have a broken wine glass, right? Shattering to the ground. Then we do have two grown men, one blonde and one brown-haired, being like, don't hide things from him. Dude looking like a crazy motherfucker. We have Dutch Angle running towards an outside door, or an outside door, yes, running past a rose. It's like the Red Rose Mansion, right? Like the guy who had that like in the secret police, and her like hurting herself on the thing. Maybe that's him, right? Maybe that's him. He's like, people can become anything, and the monster is going inside. So maybe he was trying that on Nina and Johan, and for Johan it worked and for Nina it didn't. That could be a thing, right? Like him trying to indoctrinate both of these. Cheers. We have like a relatively cheerful, like politician, businessman looking like dude raising a wine glass. And we have that probably being Johan's and Nina's mother. Welcome back. Frog number 1 with one voice. Welcome back. Frog number 2. Welcome back. Frog number 3. And all the time, like male voices. And Nina's like, what the fuck is happening? Beautiful archway, by the way. Here. That is a painting and a half. Also these entire, like, the angles with, like, from upstairs, and then we're focusing on, like, the doors getting bigger and she's going in, and then we have the stairway which is, like, creeping up. Spread over that, right? Like, slightly grayscale to make, like, reflect the emotion, the chill that she has when she's going in there. This other scene is a lot warmer in terms of composition. And this, like, she's looking pale as fuck. She's looking frail. She's looking weak. And we are the perspective of the doorknob of her getting closer to that. Stepping in, and she's like, what's happening? And what she's saying is, what is this memory? I should have been reading a picture book in here, but the one who opened the door and came in was me. So she's like, like, the way she's describing it almost sounds like she's in here reading the picture book, and then somebody comes in and opens the door and she sees herself opening the door. But the way we see it from a visual point of view is actually all of these memories of her as Anna being sucked out and all the way back. And then she's like, I'm welcoming myself back home. It's like, I have a point of view, first person perspective of coming inside of this room, opening it up, and a child looking like me, supposed to be me, reading the picture book, looking at me. Is that Johan? That, like, some mindfuckery where Johan was actually, like, where this guy who was experimenting on them, he was doing that to them, and that is like Johan in a dress and whatnot, because that is a Johan smile. That is a fucking Johan smile. Oh my god. No, we did confirm this, okay? When Tenma found Johan as a child with the bullet in his head, he was male. So Johan is male. I was just like, for a second, like, is Johan actually not male? Is he like just a good? Was he a girl? Like, is he a woman? Technically. But when Johan when Tenma finds Johan, he is. I mean, it's still possible. It was a girl, twin girl, got experimented on, whatever, they changed her. Hormones, right? Hormones existed back then. Made a boy out of him. Out of her. I mean, that's a crazy theory. That's a crazy theory, right? Because that Johan smile, and they are twins, they look pretty much the same. He just disguised himself as her. He looks very female there. Johan always had a very soft voice, a very, like, soft-spoken, androgynous voice. He always had the pretty boy factor. So in a way, you could almost surmise that Johan could have been a girl at birth. Been indoctrinated, been changed, with hormones even, to be a boy when he arrives at Tenma's. But this is the thing, right? I think people who are going through a gender transformation, right, with hormones and what, they actually have to do that. They have to take hormones their entire life. So you would probably see that on the blood works in the hospital, at the very least. I mean, it's possible people have just not checked for it and overlooked it, but that would mean that Johan would have to continuously take the medication. Unless, I mean, I'm not an expert, it's possible that if you do that before puberty, you don't have to take it for life. But I'm not sure about that. It's still a theory, right? I mean, and not everything in this story needs to be one-to-one accurate. There could be a plot hole, a tiny plot hole of like, yeah, technically you have to take that your entire life. But be kind of like, especially like this is a 90s anime, so we don't know how much actually if they tried for a plot point like that, how much research they actually put into it. If they forgot a tiny little detail. Again, it's a crazy tinfoil hat theory, but my tinfoil hat theory about Nina not being Nina was true, so. This could be a thing. And it could explain why she is going into the room, having that memory person point of view, and actually being greeted by herself. Unless we want to go down the route of, which is almost less believable for me personally, that you implant memories into somebody. I mean, yes, memories are a reconstructive process. I guess through like hypnosis and suggestion and like visual stimuli, you could probably make somebody believe that what they are remembering is actually not like you could make somebody remember something that actually didn't happen to them. We do have that effect actually being kind of present in some of like psychoanalysis based therapy, where there have been cases of psychologists and therapists in sessions where they try to work out traumata of the past, of childhood, suggesting things, and then the patient's actually remembering abusive memories that didn't happen, right? This is also one of the reasons why suggestion is really a pretty difficult thing, right? Being like, could you have been, right? Could this have happened? Could this have happened? That's not a good thing to do, technically. You want to be like, the impulse needs to come from the patient of like, oh, yeah, I think I remember this. I think I remember that. So suggesting something could actually put a memory that is maybe partially true, but not entirely true, into somebody's head, right? That they're reconstructing something the wrong way. And then the more you reconstruct it the wrong way, the more it actually becomes the actual memory in a way. That could be the case too, right? So it's very highly interesting, really, all of this. Yeah, that was Monster episode 47, I think? Yeah, 47. I'll see you next time for Monster episode 48. Thank you to all the patrons, and I hope you're having as much fun with that as I do, because this shit's crazy, dude. See you then.